Residents of Anne Arundel County, as you know, during the 2021 General Assembly session, the legislature passed a package of police reform bills. This sweeping legislation results from months of hearings, debates, and negotiations among advocacy groups, professional organizations, communities, and elected officials across the state. One of the bills, House Bill 670, mandates that counties establish police accountability boards, or PABs. By law, Anne Arundel County must have a PAB established by July 1st, 2022.
In this video, we will provide an overview of the Police Accountability Board legislation, discuss the structure and duties of the PAB and other adjudication bodies, explain the county's process and timeline, and share opportunities for community input and engagement. First, let's review what state law requires. The county has taken action to comply with all new state requirements by fully implementing body-worn cameras for our police department, increasing resources to respond to expanded Public Information Act requests, and implementing system and policy changes necessary for new data collection, traffic stop procedures, and many other requirements. Next, let's discuss what a Police Accountability Board will do.
House Bill 670 requires each county to create a police accountability board that will provide policy advice through meetings with law enforcement agencies, review of disciplinary matters stemming from public complaints, and annual reporting. The board will work with law enforcement agencies and the county government to improve policing and police accountability in the county. It is responsible for appointing civilian members to the Administrative Charging Committee and Trial Board, and it will receive complaints of police misconduct filed by members of the public. In Anne Arundel County, the Police Accountability Board will work closely with the Anne Arundel County Police Department, the City of Annapolis, Office of the Sheriff, Anne Arundel County Community College, and Crofton law enforcement agencies.
To ensure the smooth rollout of the new complaint adjudication process, the county operated in phases. These phases include planning, stakeholder engagement, introduction, and implementation. During the planning and implementation stages, internal work groups created an outreach plan and materials engaging over 60 members of key stakeholder groups in 6 meetings. The goal of these meetings was to obtain initial feedback on structure, membership, and other considerations that would be included in the county bill prior to its introduction at the February 7th County Council hearing. Looking forward, the county plans to continue a key administration priority of public engagement by educating and seeking feedback and participation from the public by using methods such as this video and other engagement platforms. After robust discussions and undergoing multiple iterations, on February 7th, Bill 1622 was introduced to Council to establish the Police Accountability Board.
In order to meet the state-mandated date of July 1st to have the implementation process in place, the county is following the timeline on your screen. In January, the administration met with community stakeholder groups and used their feedback to craft Bill 1622. Critical next steps indicated on the timeline include releasing an interest application to seek membership and holding a formal public hearing. During this time, the administration will outreach, connect, and release materials that will help familiarize the public with the bill so residents can give informed feedback throughout the public engagement process and during the public hearing on March 7th.
In this section, we will discuss the structure of the Police Accountability Board, the Administrative Charging Committee, and the Trial Board as required by state law and proposed by the county. Before we dive into the structure of each body, it's important to understand how these groups work together. One of the responsibilities of the PAB is receiving complaints. This slide represents how a complaint moves through the process and the part each body plays in that process. The PAB, or law enforcement agency, receives a misconduct complaint from the public. Next, the law enforcement agency investigates the complaint. Upon completion of the investigation, the law enforcement agency forwards the investigatory file to the Administrative Charging Committee, which reviews the file and determines whether to charge the officer. If the officer is not charged, meaning the allegations are unfounded or the officer is exonerated, the Administrative Charging Committee will issue a written opinion detailing findings, determinations, and recommendations. If the officer is charged, the Administrative Charging Committee will still issue a written opinion detailing findings, determinations, and disciplinary recommendations. The Chief of Police then offers discipline recommended by the Administrative Charging Committee or a higher level according to the state-created disciplinary matrix. The officer then has the option to accept the discipline or have the matter referred to the trial board for a hearing.
State law clearly defines the structure and requirements for the Administrative Charging Committee and Trial Board. According to state law, there shall be only one Administrative Charging Committee per county and will consist of 5 members. These include the chair of the Police Accountability Board or their PAB designee, 2 civilian members selected by the PAB, and 2 civilian members selected by the Chief Executive Officer of the county. Before serving on the Administrative Charging Committee, an individual shall receive training on matters relating to police procedures from the Maryland Police Training and Standards Commission. Multiple trial boards can be convened for each incident in the county. However, state law requires that the trial board consist of 3 members: an active or retired administrative law judge, or a retired district or circuit court judge appointed by the county executive, a civilian who is not a member of an administrative charging committee appointed by the Police Accountability Board, and a police officer of equal rank to the accused officer appointed by the chief of police that employs the officer subject to the complaint.
Please note that moving forward in this video, anything in blue is required by state law and cannot be changed. Anything in red has been proposed by the county. As you can see, state law mandates that an active police officer may not be a member of the Police Accountability Board. It also requires the members of the board to reflect the racial, gender, and cultural diversity of the county. For Anne Arundel County, Bill 1622, introduced to the County Council on February 7th, proposed the following board composition. The board would include 9 voting members, all of whom must be county residents for at least 3 years, with one of the 9 members appointed as the chair. One of the 9 members must also be an Annapolis resident appointed upon the recommendation of the mayor and Annapolis City Council. This slide provides an overview of the proposed appointment process, chair appointment, and membership terms. First and foremost, the county shall make a public announcement at least 30 days in advance of making any selection, appointment, or reappointment to invite residents to apply for membership on the board. This will come in the form of an interest application, as discussed in previous slides. All appointees will be subject to a background check. All members, including the chair, will be appointed by the county executive and confirmed by the county council. Members will serve terms of 3 years or until a successor is appointed, with the initial appointments being staggered. The chair will serve a 3-year term, and members will become ineligible for reappointment after serving 3 terms.
State law does not include details on ex officio membership or how to handle vacancies and removal. The county has proposed including non-voting ex officio members with expertise and knowledge that will be valuable to the board. Appointments may include the County Director of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, the Human Relations Officer, leadership from local law enforcement agencies or their designees. The county executive may remove a member for cause, including improper use or disclosure of information, being charged with a crime, immoral conduct, or absence from 25% or more of the scheduled meetings during any 12-month period. Because the PAB will carry out this important work, the county is committed and will prioritize ensuring that members have relevant knowledge and experience. This slide proposes a list of skills and experience to ensure qualification, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Please pause the video now to read the list included in Bill 1622.
In this section, we will discuss the budget, staffing, procedures, and transparency mandates included in Bill 1622. State law also requires the local establishment of budget, staff, and record keeping. Bill 1622 proposes that the PAB shall have an executive director and an executive secretary. The county executive will propose a budget for the PAB to be included in the annual operating budget and shall assign staff as needed. The county council must approve the fiscal year 23 budget, and each member will submit a financial disclosure statement, conflict of interest, and ethics forms. As for record keeping, the Executive Secretary shall keep records. The county administration will establish a retention schedule in accordance with state law, and records shielded by state law are kept confidential. Bill 1622 requires the PAB to comply with the Open Meetings Act. According to the Open Meetings Act, reasonable advance notice of meetings must be given. An agenda must be made available as soon as practical, at least 24 hours before meeting, and arrangements must be made for the public to attend. Minutes, archived video, or audio recording will be made available following the meetings.
In this section, we will discuss the duties of the Police Accountability Board, Administrative Charging Committee, and Trial Board. State law clearly defines, with no flexibility, the duties of the PAB with regards to meetings, complaints, appointments, outcomes, and reporting. This slide outlines those duties. Please pause the video and read the list of PAB responsibilities. The duties of the Administrative Charging Committee and Trial Board are also clearly defined by the state. According to state law, the Administrative Charging Committee is required to review the findings of the law enforcement agency, make a determination to charge or not charge the police officer subject to the complaint, authorize a police officer called to appear before an Administrative Charging Committee to be accompanied by a representative, and issue a written opinion detailing findings, determinations, and recommendations. Each law enforcement agency is required to establish a trial board process in accordance with this section to adjudicate matters for which a police officer is subject to discipline.
We encourage you to share your thoughts and have your voice heard on March 7th and throughout this public engagement process. If you have any questions, please contact our team at pabcomments@aacounty.org.